Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Weekend Wrap Up. It is April 25th, the year 2026, Josh.
It is. That's
This
what my
year
watch
is
tells me.
going by fast.
This year is going by fast.
Man,
It
I still
is.
got Christmas decorations up.
I do not have Christmas
I'm just kidding. I
decorations
don't.
up. No,
I
you
don't.
have
But
Christmas
it
decorations
seems like
up.
we just put them up, though. It's the
Yeah.
year's flying.
Yeah, we were flying
One of
by.
the big things that we're not going to talk about it in our show, but I want to mention is the drought that we're in right now.
Yeah,
I know there was forecasted some rain for this weekend. It looks like we're going to scoot through with not much.
Yeah.
So we really need some rain.
we
bad.
need some rain. We need some rain,
Saying
especially
Monday.
the farmers. I'm
Yeah.
seeing the farmers posting they really need the rain.
Yeah,
So,
I drove by. I was coming through Winchester yesterday, and when I crossed the bridge at Estill Springs, I just looked over, and the bank is dry down. And usually the spring rains have had that thing filled up. It's still down at Winter Pool, man.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of scary to see.
Yeah, we could desperately need some rain. I think there's another chance
Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, Monday,
They
maybe.
say heavy
So-
storms, and that's the way the outlook's been. But this dry pocket of air just dries that stuff up when
It
gets
eats
here.
it up before it gets here. Yeah, I saw some on the radar this morning that didn't ever get to us.
No, I know, it's sad.
Yeah,
We
never
need it.
got to us. So,
We want to thank our sponsors, Dennis Young Insurance here in Shelbyville, and the Dream Team,
yep.
the Arnolds from Coldwell Banker.
Coldwell Banker. Yep.
Yeah. And also
Cutting Edge.
Cutting
Optical.
Edge Optical out on North Main Street. Let's take a break here from them. We'll be back to talk about what's going on or what went on this past week.
Yep.
We'll be right back.
For clear vision and trusted care, choose Cutting Edge Optical. We offer comprehensive eye exams powered by 20/20 exams, expert contact lens fittings, and a wide selection of quality frames to match your style and budget. Need glasses fast? We even offer same-day eyeglasses to keep you seeing clearly without the wait. Our experienced team is committed to personalized service and helping you see your best every day. Visit Cutting Edge Optical at 1114 North Main Street in Shelbyville, or call 931-488-5778 to schedule your appointment today.
Get the results you want with the personalized service you deserve at Dennis Young Insurance Agency.
As a local independent agency, we offer coverage from several different companies, including Erie. So whether it's auto, home, life, personal, or business, we can find the right coverage to meet your unique insurance needs. And with a rate lock advantage, your rates won't go up as long as you do not change drivers, autos, or addresses. Contact us at Dennis Young Insurance Agency, insuring Shelbyville and surrounding areas since 1988.
When you're ready to buy or sell in Middle Tennessee, you want someone who knows this community inside and out. Meet Diane and Madison Arnold, Shelbyville's trusted real estate team with decades of local experience and award-winning results. Whether it's finding your dream home, pricing your property to sell, or navigating every step of the transaction with confidence, they're with you from start to finish. As part of Coldwell Banker Southern Realty, they pair hometown expertise with powerful market tools to help you move with confidence. Call Diane and Madison today and experience the personal service and local knowledge that makes all the difference.
All righty, welcome back into the Weekend Wrap Up. Josh, why don't you dive in and tell us what we're looking back at this week?
Before we get into the news, I had a thought this morning, Dave.
thought?
I know this is
Okay,
scary.
all right.
This is
Yeah,
scary.
okay.
So I get in my car this morning about 8:45, and I rolled the window down. I turned on some country music,
Oh my goodness.
and I started driving out of the neighborhood. And walking down the sidewalk was a couple moms pushing their babies, and a kid rolled in front of me on his skateboard. We had some yard sales going on. I came on into town, drove around Colorado. We had the pancake breakfast at the going on at the Masonic Lodge.
Right.
And I stopped and got me my coffee, and I said, I'm kind of early. So I drove down to the square. We had people all, even on a Saturday morning, a lot of people standing on the corner of the square getting their coffee at Grindstone, and drove on by the celebration grounds. They got the big tent up. I think there's a fish fry going on there. So, and I thought to myself, you know what? We're kind of dang lucky to live where we live.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of worse places we could be in the world.
Oh, I can think of a lot of worse places.
A lot of worse places. I had this conversation yesterday, actually. I ran into one of our city police officers at the getting coffee again. I'm getting coffee a lot in this story. So getting coffee, and he'd just come back from a road trip out west. And he said, man, it was good to see the things I saw, but I felt good when I got home. So, yeah. We get on Facebook and we get behind our screens. And I know it's ironic saying that as we're talking on a Facebook show.
But this is not just, we're on YouTube as well.
We're on YouTube as well. We get behind our YouTube screen And there's a lot of drama and there's a lot of stuff going on. And there's, nothing's perfect. We're not perfect.
Right.
It's not perfect. But man, we're just dang lucky to live where we're at. So
and I would like to add to that.
Yeah.
When you're on vacation, you come back home, just like this guy took this trip.
Yeah.
It's good to see those city limit signs, or
It
when you
is.
cross into Bedford County.
Yeah.
And mentioning those things that you see. I think all the conversations and it looks like people butting heads, all trying to be better, all trying to make things better.
Yeah.
That's the goal, I think, of everybody that has that passion for Bedford County. It comes out.
Yeah. So that is my story
Very
for the day. So I thought I'd throw that out there.
All right.
It's my show. I can say what I want.
That's
that's
exactly
what I'm
right.
saying. So
I concur.
do you concur?
I concur.
Okay, David concurs. So let's get into a couple news items real quick. There was I posted earlier this week, just wanted to highlight it again. Our city police department put up a couple signs and a camera.
Right.
If you buy and sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace, there's been plenty of stories in the news
Yes.
from other places where it's not always safe. We get a safe place that you can show up there and you can transact your business, and you're right in front of the police department. So if you call, you know where they're at.
That's exactly
And
right.
they got a camera running all the time, and a good place if you need somewhere to meet up and sell your Facebook
Very good.
stuff.
Very good
Very good.
Very
place.
good situation.
Yeah,
there
very
for
good
everybody.
situation there. We also posted that the state Senate killed the county employee bill. You and I have talked about that a lot in the past. There's been a lot of comments on that again this week. Our position, and obviously not the position shared by everybody because it got shot down, has been consistently and shared by other people across the state, that there is a bit of a conflict of interest in the way county commissions are handled versus other legislative bodies in the state. If you serve on a school board, you cannot be an employee of the local education association. If you serve on a city council like I do, I cannot be an employee of the city that I serve,
Right.
that I serve in the legislative body. If you serve in the state legislature, you cannot work for the state of Tennessee. However, for varying reasons, they've never done anything about county commissions. If you serve on a county commission, you can also be an employee of the county. I saw some of the comments, even as recently, I think with the last 24 hours, people saying, it's not just about, there was a focus on a couple of them about, oh, you're just talking about those people can give themselves a pay raise. And then they went to the direction of, oh, county commission can give commissioners a pay
That's
raise.
a joke.
They don't make hardly any money.
$600 a month.
No, it's less than that. It's like
Yeah.
four something.
Okay, four
It's like
something,
400
right.
something. So there's no money really in these legislative offices, on top of which I myself could vote technically a pay raise for the city council. But if you do that because of conflict of interest laws, I can't do that and get that pay raise.
Right.
That goes to the next person that gets elected. That's after after the session is
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. So it's a
So
little bit of there's
it's
not
a little bit
conflict
different.
there.
And yeah, I watched some of the debate up at the state level this last couple of weeks over this. This is not a Bedford County issue. This is something statewide. And what's happened in a couple other county commissions has been, there's one in particular they mentioned, I don't even remember the county. We had a gentleman that was he was a department head. He sat as the chairman of the finance committee, sat on the county commission, and for whatever reason, magically his department was the best funded department in the whole county government. So that's the kind of thing that goes on. The debate against it a lot has been just let the voters decide, which obviously completely believe in letting the voters decide. But this is an easy way just to remove the possibility of a conflict. Also, the other debate has been over the years, and this was raised on the Senate floor before they had the vote. You got small counties where it's hard to get people to serve. But I mean, we're a fairly small county. If you can't find 18 people out of 50-some thousand,
And
that's
some of these
pretty
counties
bad.
only have 5 county commissioners. Have you seen some of these little counties?
Yeah, and some
We're
have
talking
more.
about-
So
yeah.
so it's
It's-
in both
it's-
directions. But I find it hard to believe that you can't find 18 people or 5 or 20 or whatever the number is to serve on your county commission. I don't buy that.
Well,
as
people
an
that
argument. So,
run, I think in places like that, their county government is probably your largest employer in a lot of these counties, like it is ours. And you have such a large voting block, the incumbents continue to be in there, and the people just disengage and just give up. There's an apathy that comes over the voters. My biggest question about this whole thing is how can the House be 80% for it and the Senate be 80% against it when they're representing the same people? I don't understand that part.
Yeah, there clearly was a disconnect there. I would take it to the private sector too. If you look at private, publicly traded companies, they have boards of directors that have independent members on them that don't have any connection to the company.
Right.
It's for the same reason. You
Yeah.
want to have that external oversight over the operation just to make sure that you're avoiding those possible conflicts of interest, whether they're there or not.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like a no-brainer to me. We thought it was headed in the direction of passing this time. It's been killed several previous sessions, and they got killed again this time.
And
so
I just really know what the real reason is, but we can never know.
well, there was a lot of discussions behind the scene that we were not privy to.
Nope.
So as far as local meetings here, we just had we had two big meetings this week. We had the county committee meetings Tuesday evening, 5:00, second floor, historic courthouse on the square. We're in, I want to put it nicely, but we're in a bit of a lull in the county commission. There's not a lot going on right now. Possibly it's because it's election year. Possibly it's because we're heading into budget season when it is going to get a little busier. But the combined timing on these meetings, that there's three committees that meet. One met for 28 minutes, one met for 10, and one met for a whopping 7 minutes. So
A lot of activity there, huh?
a lot of activity. It was over and done with in less than an hour, all three meetings. The big one, which I was at all three, but the big one that I spoke at briefly was the Rules Committee. We came back as the joint study committee on the senior property tax freeze. Just came back before the Rules Committee and said, hey, we've done our research. All of that research has been shared as it happened in real time with every member of the county commission and every member of the city council. And we said, hey, on the county side of things, which is where this committee meets, we would ask that this go ahead and move forward. As was mentioned in the initial motion that started it in January, the idea was to move it forward first to the finance committee and then on to the full county commission, which is where the decision has to be made. There was a little back and forth, which led to a split vote, a 3-2 vote. Everybody says, oh, we're for it, but there's always, oh, we want to help seniors, but this. And the but in this case was they wanted, it seemed like the two that voted against it, their feeling was the finance committee didn't just need to see it and review it. They needed to have a say as far as whether it moved forward or not. They wanted it. It was even mentioned there during the committee. They wanted the finance committee to vote it up and down, or up or down, whether it was a good or bad and whether it moved forward. That's not really the purview of the finance committee as far as stopping or starting or whatever an idea. Their purview, much like the planning commission, a lot of these other committees, is to recommend or give favorable or unfavorable recommendations. So that was the direction that Anita, who also chaired this study committee, that was the motion that she put forward. I didn't. She snuck in late. She cuts hair. She barely gets there on time today, and I get to talk to her afterwards. But I think her concern, it seemed like, was if she didn't go ahead and put in her motion there that night to go ahead and go to the commission as well, she was worried it might get bogged down in finance, I think. So she went ahead and laid out the whole process in her motion. That kind of was frowned on by two of the members. So two of them voted against. Either way, the motion passed, where it will go to the finance committee first, and then it will go to the county
I thought it
commission.
was going simultaneously.
Well, not. I mean, they don't meet at the same time. So you're not simultaneous.
Right. I mean, but they're being
she's
put
setting
forward
forth. She was setting forth the whole process all the way through.
Right.
So yeah.
So
finance meets this coming Tuesday, and then the county commission doesn't meet for another 3 or 4 weeks in the month of May. So yeah. So she was just laying out the two.
Okay.
steps,
So this will come to a vote on the commission floor, or it will be on the agenda.
It will be on the agenda of the commission in May. So
this is a no-brainer.
That has been our feeling all along. I will tell you about another quick side story here, since we don't really have a lot to cover today. I'll give a couple stories. I had an extensive conversation the day after this. Somebody else in our county government that wanted to actually, and I appreciate this, they wanted to get more information on the tax freeze. They didn't completely understand it all yet, even though they had seen the packets and stuff that we'd sent in. They just, and rather than go on Facebook and complaining about it or talking to somebody else, they called me directly and said, hey, I know you've done the research. Let's walk through. So we walked through the numbers top to bottom. We talked, I don't know how long, half an hour, maybe something like that. Just walk through it from top to bottom. One of the concerns that we've heard, I've seen this one on Facebook recently as well, is if you help out the seniors, you're going to put this burden, a burden on the people
Yeah,
under 65.
I don't see how that
you're
could
you're gonna weigh them down with a bunch of taxes. I even saw a couple people that said, "Oh, this is going to lead to a massive tax increase, or a tax increase, or any tax increase." So let me just real quick get to the math here. So during this conversation, we said, well, let's put a number on this, because we hadn't. I put out a lot of numbers, but I had not done the exact math on this quote unquote burden. We had a cost as far as if there was a tax increase. We had a dollar figure, which I don't have that dollar figure in front of me. It was a low six-figure dollar figure that is called restricted revenue, which this is money that the county couldn't get out of the piggy bank of the seniors.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
So we looked at the number of parcels that are taxed in Bedford County. There are 25,691 parcels of property in Bedford County that pay property tax. This program would help 720 was the number that we've estimated. That's an estimate. It's going to be really close. About 720 of those parcels, they will not get their tax removed. They're not. Right. They're not even going to get a discount on their tax.
That's what I was about to ask. Did this person think that all their taxes were just going to go away?
No, that this person I was speaking to understood. Okay, we were just trying to get to a solid number. Yeah. So 720 seniors, their taxes don't go away. All that happens is their taxes cannot be increased for the remainder of their.
It just locks it in, locked into place.
Their taxes in. So that we're going to continue to use the word burden, even though I don't consider seniors to be a burden. But that amount that they don't pay in increased taxes would shift theoretically to the 25,000 other parcels that don't get that tax freeze. So what do you think the burden is on those poor 25,000 parcels?
A cup of coffee.
You're pretty close. Actually, probably my coffee was more expensive than this. It is $5.04 per parcel.
That's how much it's going to cost. So somebody could give up a half a cup of coffee a year.
That's not a month. That's not a week.
A year.
$5 and only after you've had a tax increase.
Right.
If you didn't have a tax increase,
it's nothing.
That number is zero.
Okay.
And that is a 20% tax increase. On a 10% tax increase, it's $2.52.
Wow. Okay. All right. So you got Chuck Glover asking this question. Very good question.
Yeah.
So if this passes, what happens when the 5-year appraisal year comes back up? No, I understand it. It's froze.
Okay, so that's a very good question. That's why it would have been great if this would have passed last year instead of this year. At this point, the reappraisals happen, so you're going to be frozen at the new number. What freezes is not your tax rate. It's not your anything else directed to tax. It's literally the amount that you paid the previous year for the property taxes on that parcel. So if you paid $1,250 and it gets reappraised and they go through all the rigmarole that's happening right now, and your new bill would have been $1,350, you don't pay $1,350, you pay $1,250. However, as can happen in a reappraisal, if you go through and instead of $1,250, it comes in $1,150, your new base rate drops to $1,150. So you can go down, you can never go up.
It's maxed out and it can drop.
It can drop, and it never, only if, and this is always the caveat we have to put, you have to fill out the form every year.
If your income
you have to
changes,
continue to qualify on the income level, which that number changes. It has a cost of living adjustment.
Okay.
But
so it's going to gradually go up. It'll gradually go up a little, but as long as you stay at or under that level.
This is targeted at people that are on a fixed income, particularly Social Security mainly, but people on a fixed income, it is a low income. I do want to correct one thing, and I should have put this number on my sheet, so even I don't have the correct number off the top of my head. There's an article on the cover of the paper that had the two numbers. Those were pulled for the numbers that were printed in the paper were pulled from some old documentation. Those were not the correct numbers. The number that I hope we're going to be talking about, which is still the lower of the two, is 43,000, and I can't give you the rest of it. I think it's like 43,800, give or take. So it's 43,000.
That's the level we're starting at right there.
That will be, you would have to be less than that in 2026 income as the deed holder of that property.
And the number about how many people, if everybody applied, it's going to be what, between 500 and 700?
We have 500 on the current program, which has a lower income level. It's got like a 37,000 income level. So the estimate is there's about a $6,000 increase in income that this is going to cover. So we're estimating about 720 senior households could be helped.
All right. So you mentioned earlier there were some buts.
Yes.
The butts.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, I'm just speculating here. You got to figure out how many butts are against this.
Well, I don't know that.
There's BUT butts.
No,
I mean, there's always the butts, and they're in every crowd.
Yeah. The concerns have been, and we just talked through the numbers.
The burden.
That there's going to be a big tax increase. This is not going to cost a big tax. This is not going to cost any tax increase. So there's no reason to increase taxes to cover this. There's not enough dollars involved that
we're talking about crumbs here, Josh. Just crumbs to help somebody out.
Yeah, and those percentages were on the initial presentation that we gave to the committee. We're talking in the scenario of a 20% tax increase across the board to everybody, it came down to 0.3%, I believe, of just the property tax portion of the budget, which is not even the whole budget. We also have sales tax and a bunch of other pieces.
So the question for everybody out there that's debating this in their mind, could you afford to scrape the crumbs off your table and give it to somebody?
Yeah, and the assistance that gives on the flip side, and there's cost and there's benefit.
Sure.
The benefit of that program to those 720 seniors, what they get as far as dollars and cents, the average senior, based on the numbers we got from the state, it would, in the case of a 20% tax increase, that would save them from having to come up with another $117 in property taxes that year. So that's the average, obviously different where they're at in the.
And you say, well, that don't make a big difference. It does when you're on a fixed income and you might have to have a drug or something that you've got to pay for out of pocket.
Yeah.
And that $117 can do something. It can also buy some food. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer.
We'll see where it goes in finance. One of the other one that we talked about at the committee, and this will probably come out as we go forward. The other side of the cost equation is there is a work element involved in this. The two of the county departments one has to process the paperwork, one has to just double check the property and make sure that it's the ownership and the valuation is correct. This is on the report that was printed to everybody as well. I personally talked to two other counties that have implemented this in the last 3 years at this point. One implemented in 2023, one in 2024. They also came in with big concerns when they started in the program that they were going to get overwhelmed with the workload. It did not end up as bad as feared. It's one of those things that obviously you don't know, so you have concerns. But once they get into year two, both of them were able to work this into those departments' workloads. It didn't lead to a big increase in personnel costs. They didn't have to go out and hire 2 or 3 people.
Right.
They didn't have to. Yeah. In this case, for instance, we're handling 517 of these transactions for tax relief in the trustee's office currently.
Yeah.
So going from 517 to 720 is not a huge jump.
Right.
Which is why we're talking about doing this at the lower income level start, so they can get a feel for it. The other department that handles this is the assessor's office. They have to verify the property and stuff. They're already looking at in their budget, which they're going to be making their presentation this Tuesday about trying to get a new field team already, in which case they would already have some added personnel in that office and should be able to absorb this, the workload without any issue with that.
So half a cup of coffee a year, and the fear of a workload is possibly standing in the way of this. I don't see that standing in the way, Josh. I think we're going to see this happen.
Well,
that's just my prediction.
We'll see when it comes to if it gets to a vote, when it comes to a vote. So that's where that stands. I know we've talked about that extensively before, and we probably talked too long today.
That's
all right.
But I think there's a lot of confusion.
There's a lot of questions,
and
that's why I was glad that one person reached out to me and we were able to talk through it. And I wish more people would do that instead of just spouting off facts that they may or may not have. So couple other things came out the committee meetings real quick. None of them really crazy, but just wanted to mention them. Same rules committee recommended favorably a bridge in the county being renamed for Stanley Smotherman. He was he a road
superintendent for years.
Back in the day for many years. There is a parcel on 41A that their owner is asking for a rezoning to C1 rural center district, which is a form of rural commercial, and the Planning Commission giving them full favorable, and so did the Rules Committee. Right after Rules, they had the big 10-minute public safety committee. All they talked about were reports. They didn't vote on anything. Courthouse and property, same thing. They didn't have anything on their agenda as far as business. They just offered reports. One report that did come out there that's of interest that we'll continue following is the planning department of the county had just that day, Chris White had received the Bedford County Comprehensive Plan. He has been working on this for 5 years, he said. So, which I know he has because I've heard this a lot in the past. So he finally has a complete first draft of this plan. It should, by the time we're sitting here talking, be in the email inboxes of the County Planning Commission. They're going to chew over it for the next few months probably and come back with some suggestions to him. He's not going to take those suggestions yet because after that, he's going to set a series of public meetings where the public can come in and view this and give their suggestions. Then both sets of suggestions will come back to him and the Planning Commission. They'll work through it all, come up with a final document that eventually will go up to the County Commission, and they can choose whether or not they want to bless it as well. They don't have to legally bless it at all, but they're going to send it to them for them to review it and see if they want to bless it. I will tell you that in Rutherford County, they did this process, and I believe within the last couple of weeks, theirs got all the way to their county commission. Actually they shot it down. They said they didn't like it. So hopefully that doesn't happen here because this one's 5 years work. But the Rutherford County one had been in the works forever too. And similar situation there. What the county commission said doesn't impact it one way or the other. The document still stood. It just doesn't have the blessing of the county commission.
Yeah.
So it's not a zoning ordinance or a subdivision regulation. So it doesn't have it. And I don't even know what the correct term is. It's not law. It's a guiding document. It's just something you look at to kind of say, this is the direction we're going with planning. You can't look at it and say, this is the exactly what's going to happen on this piece of property at any given time. Yeah. So, and with that was it on Tuesday evening at that. I think I may have talked about those meetings almost as long as the meetings went on here at this point. So
28, 10, and 7.
Yeah. So we're not quite that far in, but we've talked a lot. The other big meeting of the week, City Planning Commission, which I sit on that when we met Thursday evening, 6:00. We had two biggish issues on the agenda. One came down at the last minute. I don't even think we talked about it here last Saturday because it showed up on my agenda maybe over the weekend. So yeah.
Wow.
Which that was the expansion of Duxon Electerra up in the industrial park. They were sitting in a 60-day deferral, waiting for them to finish things up. They asked to go ahead and come back this past week and have us look at it again. We looked at it again. They were close, but no cigar. Wasn't quite ready yet to be voted on. There were a number of conditions. 7 was the actual number.
Yeah.
7 conditions that were still hanging out there that needed to be addressed. And generally, particularly since I've been on the Planning Commission, but even prior to me, the Planning Commission has been reticent to approve a project that has that many conditions because once it's approved, the only protection that those conditions get met is they do get reviewed by city staff, which is good, but our city planning staff has a lot going on. So we would prefer to have the whole Planning Commission look at those conditions and make sure they get done. So we did go ahead and say, as long as they meet the conditions, they can start moving dirt and get a grading permit as soon as they do, because we didn't want to hold them up necessarily. That wasn't the point of this. So anytime in the next 30 days that they get the conditions met, they could start moving dirt and start on their project. But they do need to come back next month and present one, hopefully, fingers crossed, last time, a finished project with the conditions met so that we can go over it. I can tell you, from being on the inside on this one a little bit, there's been a lot of meetings between them and city staff to get this project right from a safety standpoint. It has been changed significantly from the initial presentation, what was presented to the city.
Yeah,
it's down to a much safer product than was first started off at. There's been secondary containment added, which is what you need in case there was any kind of a spill, and there's also been foam fire protection added that wasn't there initially, and that part has been signed off. They actually brought in the fire engineer from out of town and spoke on that at this meeting. So a lot of good things.
We're tightening up the safety issues then.
Things are being tightened up on the safety issue. I think that's important, and I'm feeling a lot better about where it sits now than where it sat 3 months ago.
Now the next step is employment. I would love to see some Bedford County employees in that place.
They have, and I can tell you because I've met with them several times as well. Now a number of their employees have moved to town. I don't want to mention neighborhoods. They even told me some neighborhoods where they're living, but there's several living in town here. And
that's good.
Part of this expansion is in hopes of a contract that I don't know if it's signed or not, but was supposedly close, and that will add workload. And at some point, it's going to need people.
I hope those people don't have to move here. I hope those people are from here,
yeah,
and trained or whatever.
There had been an ad, I believe, in one of the newspapers the last few weeks looking for some marketing help and stuff.
It's been slow coming, but maybe it's coming now.
Maybe it's coming. So we're moving along. Other big item that was on the agenda. This one's been talked about nonstop, both in the paper and online. Remington Farms PUD came back one more time to the Planning Commission. This first, I believe, was reviewed by the Planning Commission, if I remember right, because I was at the meeting. December 2023, I believe is the
Sounds
date.
about right, Josh.
December 2023. And it's already midway through approval at the city council, but they sent it back one more time. You and I talked about this last week, the week before. We feel like it was probably hoping that the Planning Commission took a different view of it. And honestly, I thought things were going to change at the Planning Commission this time because there have been some upgrades to the plan. But the end result, which shocked me, and I think most people in the room, was it actually got a more unfavorable vote than it did the first time. So first time it came out 4-3 unfavorable. This time it came out 4-2 unfavorable. So a two vote margin instead of one. So it will now head back to the city council in a couple of weeks for a final vote. We've talked about this a lot. I talked about it at the meeting. I don't want to, belabor it too much. I did have a couple points I wanted to make. The big issue, which was the one I mentioned there on the floor and I had mentioned in the previous council meetings, was the buzzword in planning, because I've been in planning now for a couple of years, pretty deep, is concurrency. And what that means is when you approve projects in the world of planning, you want concurrency between the project path line and the infrastructure path line. If you get a project that's moving in this direction and it's going up here and your infrastructure isn't keeping up, that's a problem. And in this case, there are infrastructure issues that aren't ready for this project at this particular location at this particular time. The main one being the traffic issue that we've talked about a lot. But there's other things to infrastructure other than traffic. And another one that hasn't been discussed a lot because the city doesn't necessarily deal with it, but it affects everybody either way, is the school system.
Yeah.
This is going to put a strain on the school system without a solution other than there's a piece of property set aside for a school, but that school isn't going to build itself. That school is going to cost money, and that money is eventually going to fall on taxpayers.
Yeah.
So, and the same thing with the road. The road's not going to fix itself. That the developer is providing some road improvements, but there's additional ones that are going to be needed, and those are going to fall on taxpayer as well. So those are
it's a lot of that's going to fall on city, but also state as well.
State.
Either way, it's
our money either way.
Yeah.
We pay in state tax same as we do the city. But yeah, so that's the issue. Infrastructure, bigger picture, which I want to talk about for just a second. Because we're in election season. I had another conversation with one of our somebody running for county office in the last couple of weeks, and we were talking about growth. Everybody's got their buzzword that's out on the campaign trail, and a lot of them, the buzz phrase is smart growth, and that was actually a discussion he and I had about, what is there another way you can say that? But smart growth it doesn't say a whole lot. You can say the word smart growth and be thinking in your mind, smart growth just means we need to get a lot of inventory. And the argument on that side is if you get in a lot of inventory, well, maybe you can help the housing costs go down. I don't buy that completely. The other side, some people say smart growth and use that, and they mean, man, I want to stop all growth because I'm tired of the change of my way of life and I want to stay rural. So I just want to stop everything. I want to be no on everything. I don't think either one of those are the direction we need to go. And I don't think, although there are people in both of those camps, I don't think that's the consensus overall that I've gotten from people out there. For me, what it means is in what I've been working towards and what I've been hearing from the people that I represent as well. There's growth coming. You can't stop it. Moratorium, you hear the word moratorium from a lot of areas. We don't need to just stop and, hit pause on everything. I know some people like to hit pause, but you need to control what you are getting, which is coming. And you do that through higher standards, which we've been working on that as quick as we can. Government moves slow. Things like green space, things like access points, things like a number of parking spaces, a number of different technical aspects that you can work on there with growth to help the final product you get be good. And then the other side, and the one that gets controversial, and why this one has been like this, is the rezoning. You got property rights. You got somebody that buys a piece of property, owns a piece of property. They have a right to develop a piece of property. The issue is, though, what can you put on that piece of property? Zoning law is set. Zoning law has been around for way more than I've been alive. And you can't just, even though you own a piece of property, I own a very tiny piece of property in Shelbyville, but I own a piece of property. But I can't go in and put a car wash on my piece of property.
No, you can't.
Because I've got houses on all four sides, and that's what zoning law is. So when a developer buys a piece of property with a particular zoning, in this case, if you buy something that's never been developed in Shelbyville, just got annexed in, it comes in as what's called R1. That is residential 1. That means you can build one single family home per 15,000 square feet of that property. That's what you bought, and that's your rights as the property owner. Now you can ask the city, or if you're in the county, you can ask the county and say, hey, I want to do more than that with a piece of property. I want to put 5 houses per 15,000 square foot, or whatever the number is. There's different levels of that. But the property right doesn't extend to you can just pick a number and do what you want. And that zoning isn't there to be punitive to the property owner. It's not there to say, hey, we're Big Bad, we're the government, we don't want to let you do what you want to do. It's there to protect the other people that live in the city so that you don't just do what you want to do and overwhelm things like the infrastructure, things like the neighborhood character, things like whatever. Yes, it's your property. Yes, you can, within reason, do things you want to do, but you can't do something that's to the detriment of the rest of the surrounding area in the cities. And that's what the zoning law protects. That's where you get into these hot button issues like this particular PUD and a lot of other zoning that's gone on. We've got one that's been ping pong back and forth on West Jackson Street that's going to be coming up again in another month. That's where there's a lot of gray area. People think that, oh, there's just some check boxes you check and magically you can zone to whatever you want. That's not how that works. And I know there's some lines there between property rights and also protecting the rest of the community. And that's where you got to get beyond just using a 2-word phrase, smart growth, throwing on a postcard and saying that's what you're for, because there's way more that goes into planning and building and expanding than that.
I've been trying, since all this topic has come up over the last 3 years, and we've had so many conversations, the word growth it's like a fingernails on a chalkboard to me, because that's such a broad statement. And everybody thinks it's a positive statement, but I've been trying to come up with a new definition of what we're facing. I think it's one thing to watch a 14-year-old boy or a 13-year-old boy get into puberty and his feet get this big and his voice starts deep, but his brain's gone. I mean, he doesn't have a brain yet. Okay, so I want to call this. That's where we're at as a city and a county. We're at that puberty 13-year-old age now. It depends on whether we mature or not.
Yeah.
And I think maturity might be the best word to use instead of growth. I mean, we can have big feet and our voice get deep, but now we're going to mature with it. And I think the maturity is where the positive thing happens, where we start to season into positive lifestyle change instead of just the same old. If we don't see lifestyle lifting and life quality of life lifting with the numeric stuff that comes along, then we're not moving in the right direction. So I think all that you said equates to maturity.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a word. I don't know.
And there's somewhere there's a middle ground. I know it's hard to believe because people are so polarized on a lot of these issues, but there's development that's going to happen. There's development that needs to happen. And the only people that are going to do that development are the developers. So you can't make the developers the bad guy. They're not the bad guy. They're providing a service that's a necessary service that needs to happen. And you also can't make the public and the community the bad guy and say, oh, they only just want to stop my development, because they're just looking out, to try to make where they live safer. Livability is the other big word that we always run into in planning, is you wanted a community that you feel like for you is a place where you can roll down your window, put on your country music, and drive into work in the morning.
But you ain't doing that right
yourself.
now. Let me tell you, now, as it stands, Josh, where you live, I went yesterday afternoon at around 4:00 out that direction. And I know a lot of people get off at 4:00, but I think the peak traffic time is probably between 4:30 and 6. And I was there maybe a little early. And I tried to turn off onto a tributary, and I sit and I sit and I sit. I finally got in. Then when I started to come back out, I just finally backed up into a driveway, turned around, and cut through the countryside to get back into town because I was not going to turn back out on 41A.
Yeah.
So that's part of quality of life and livability.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Traffic is one of the big key components when you get into an area. And I'll tell you, obviously, we were fortunate where we live, which is what I was talking about earlier in the show. Because I went, I don't know, about 2 weeks ago, my wife decided she wanted to buy something on Marketplace. I don't know why she wants to buy stuff on Marketplace. We had to go to Laverne.
There's some deals on Marketplace.
There was a deal. There was a coffee table. We had to have it. I had to go to Laverne and pick up this coffee table. I'm telling you, Dave, I had to pull out of this neighborhood in Laverne and make a left turn, and there was a Walmart across the street at the same intersection. There was no red light. I kid you not, I'm pretty sure I sat there 15 minutes. It took forever to get out of that neighborhood. I'm like, I could never live here. I would hate that.
Well, see, the people that buy those houses, they don't use their brain. They don't think of oh man, we're right across from Walmart. Yeah, but you can't get to it. You have to walk.
Can't get there.
All right, here's a question, and this is a great question. We've talked about it, but I'm sure this lady has not, or this listener or watcher or whatever she's
they're doing.
Okay, Kimberly.
Yeah.
Ask a question. Any info on the bypass that's supposed to be coming out on 41A North? And we both know the answer. Josh, you want to let her know where we stand on that? Because it's not good.
Well, yeah, we stand in limbo at the moment. It got stalled for different reasons that I've heard various stories over the years, but it currently does not exist on the TDOT 10-year plan. They just updated their 10-year plan within the last 2 or 3 months. We published it. And there are no major projects currently in Bedford County on the TDOT 10-year plan, that one included. So it does not have a time frame. It doesn't have financing. We know we need it, but Nashville apparently has not gotten the idea that it's important enough to be on their radar yet. So it's not there and it's not coming yet. So
well, let me back up to this, Pud. I lived out there my entire life in that West Meadows neighborhood. And I'm going to tell you just my opinion. I know nobody cares, but just if I were put in a position of, you got to vote for this, what's it going to take to get you to vote in favor of this? If as a resident and as a representative, if I were representing the people and listen to what they say, I would say this. If we had that bypass that she's talking about, and we had 4 lanes coming in from probably the El Bethel area all the way into town.
Yeah.
And that bypass had plans to go all the way over to Lewisburg Highway, I would probably say this is not a bad situation at that point if we had that, but we don't have that at all.
No, and that's none of that is in the works at the moment. So, all right, I think we've beat up that one enough. Let's run down the rest real quick. A couple other things were on that planning agenda. Believe it or not just those 2 we talked about. There was a minor expansion of a building at Cooper Steel that got approved. Some kind of an industrial building on Plastic Avenue. It was already, I don't even know where Plastic Avenue is. It's somewhere in the industrial area over there on the east side of town, I think. So it got approved.
I'm gonna have to hunt that one up.
Yeah. And then Main Street, there was a parcel of land kind of across from the new Starbucks and stuff there. It was a bigger parcel. They feel like if they divide it into 3 smaller parcels, they could sell to 3 different businesses. So they applied for and got the ability to subdivide that. So last item on my rundown before we take a break and hear from our sponsors one more time, I went Friday morning to the Walmart on North Main Street. They had them a marching band and confetti and food trucks and speeches and a ribbon cutting. So
another ribbon cutting.
They have done they've actually done a really good job. I go to Walmart every week on Saturday usually, and occasionally during the week if I've forgotten something that I have to go back for. But at least on Saturdays I go every week, and they have really redone the inside. If you've not been inside in the last month, you wouldn't recognize parts of it. So they've even got little display things that make you almost feel like you're in a department store or something, and they've updated the signage. Now the complaint I've heard is they have moved stuff around. So if you're used to stuff being in this aisle, you got to look at the app.
Somebody said on Facebook they brought the smiley face back.
there were smiley faces on it on their vests at the event.
That's
so
impressive.
yeah, there were smiley faces.
Smiley faces.
So the big thing though, because I was able to talk to the store manager was there for this event, is they have massively expanded. In-store sales at this and many Walmarts are actually going down because people get on their phone and they order stuff.
Yeah, imagine
They
that.
don't want to walk in the store. So there's two different ways that works. If you get on your phone and order stuff, you can get on your phone and order stuff, and then you drive there and you pick it up. They have slots you park in, or they bring it to your house.
Okay, a little comedy relief here, Josh.
Yeah.
Do you like going in the store and shopping, or do you like getting on your phone and pushing a button?
I go into the store. I don't.
Well, you
I
just
don't
want the
push buttons.
exercise and the frustration, or what?
I just like walking.
You
hanging
walking
out,
around seeing people,
and
yeah.
shopping.
You can
So
see some sights at Walmart.
You can see sites at Walmart. So, but this big expansion, what it did was, as they sat prior to this, they could only handle 300 of those type of orders a day because of the amount of slots they had for cars to park in. You had to set them up by
Limited.
time and stuff, limited
Yeah.
space. So they did a big old expansion all the way down the one side of the building. Now there's parking all the way down, all numbered. I didn't go all the way down to see what the highest number is, bunch of them. And they can now process 900 a day.
So if you were number 301 at the 300 limit, you were just out of luck. Now you're covered.
well, you couldn't even, and I do
They
know
wouldn't
that
let you
much. I've
take-
never done
yeah.
on that, but I know they would say no slots available. So that
Wow.
worked. So yeah.
Okay.
So they allow 900, but not all of that is going to be people driving in and doing their own pickup. They got the service, they call it Spark.
Yep.
And you can get the Spark app on your phone. And
Oh.
he said, this is not for you shopping. This is a way.
Yeah.
He said they have a bunch of like moms that their
Yep.
kids are in school.
They go
So
deliver. for
they
them.
drop their
Yeah.
kids off at school. They pull up their Spark app, and they're a Walmart employee for a couple hours, drop off deliveries, and make money. So you get on the app, you say, I'm available. They say, hey, we got an order that needs to go to wherever. You pull up into that pickup slot. They put the order in your car, and you drive it and drop it on somebody's front porch.
So, all right. So I know these Spark drivers have a nickname. Are they called Sparkies or what?
I don't know that. I didn't
Okay,
get that.
all
He
right,
didn't
okay.
mention that. And actually, there's two different ways the Spark can work. And I'm not a Spark, so I don't know. But you can do that way, which is where you just pull into the slot. Or if you're an ambitious Sparky,
Okay.
they have the other way, which if it's a rush order, they don't even have it ready yet. So you have to park in a regular spot, like a lowlife like
Yeah.
me, walk into the store, get the products,
Yeah.
and actually put them in a cart, load them and bag them,
And then
deliver them to the guy's house.
okay.
So
So
there's two different levels
Josh,
of sparking.
all right.
So,
I've
yeah.
got a brilliant idea for you.
Okay.
Since you go to so many meetings, you're out and about all the time. Sometimes between meetings, why don't you just do some Sparky activity?
I could spark. I should download the app and try sparking for a
Yeah,
little.
I mean,
could-
you're
I
out
could give a
everywhere,
report.
man. Just as you're slinging
I
by,
could
just
give a
sling it out the
report.
window.
So
you know?
yeah. So I don't know. It's
All right.
it seemed like an idea, but I mean, in all seriousness, and let's talk some numbers of employees. They have at Walmart, and I know we got jokes about this on the Facebook post. They have 310 employees there. I know they only ever have 2 registers open. That's
Two. Where are they at?
Oh no, I know, and we pick on Walmart. And everybody picks on Walmart.
Yeah.
But they are employing 310 people here in the city or in Bedford County,
Yep.
where I don't know where everybody's coming, so maybe come from out of town. 310 employees there. Down the street, we got the Walmart DC. Their manager was here. He's from Australia. He had an accent, so I'd never met him before.
Really?
And they're doing a big old expansion down there. They have currently, I believe the number, it was over 500. I think he said 560 people working there right now.
Yeah.
After this expansion, which if you've driven by there, the new building is ginormous.
All right.
It's huge.
Man, you could fit 50,000 people in that building.
You
And
could
what?
fit.
We're going to get 240 more employees.
They're going to 800 plus,
Yeah.
and it's not set to open. It's so big. There's so much automation going in. It looks from the outside, it looks like they're kind of getting close to something.
That building should have its
Right.
own zip code.
It is. It is huge. I don't even know what square footage is. Massive. But anyways, they're not going to be fully delivering and doing stuff until 2028,
Wow.
summer of 2028. But at that point, that will put that location Walmart at 800 plus. You got the main store at 300 plus. That is going to make them, Walmart Corporation will be one of our top, I'd say 2 or 3
Well, if you get,
employers
let's
in
see,
the county.
you got 800 and 310
You're over
right now.
1,100
You're
employees.
1,100.
Yeah.
That's going to put you in the top. You're going to put you
That's
about second or third spot.
It's going to put you right up there. I think we have
Yeah.
1,100 school system employees is the number they always tell us. I know
Yeah.
that fluctuates. but I
Between
think-
Bedford
yeah.
County,
Yeah.
County employees and the school system together, if you look at Bedford County employees in that context, it's like 1,485.
Yeah. So this is going to put them right
Yeah.
up there. So that's good. Those are jobs. I know people mock Walmart and whatever, but they're out there, and they did. We spoke about this we talked about this with the manager a little bit. They do stuff in the community, and they don't go out there and tout it. They don't do the photo ops and this and that. Even at this event, and they weren't there because of this, and they weren't there touting it, but they gave several thousand. I think Thomas Magnet was one. They gave like $2,000 checks out to nonprofits and schools in the area. So they're doing stuff in the community. They're hiring people. They're keeping people employed. So I just wanted to say that's
okay.
It's good. Kudos.
Well, it's all good.
So
that's good.
So kudos to them. And with that, I think I have talked too long for not having a lot to say. We're already 50 minutes in. We should hear from our sponsors.
Well, let's do that. Let's take a quick break, and you can look ahead next week at what you got going on.
Yeah, we'll talk about next week.
All righty. Thanks, everybody, for hanging there with us. We thank you for your comments. We'll be right back with the wrap-up.
The wrap-up
part
of the wrap-up. Yes.
For clear vision and trusted care, choose Cutting Edge Optical. We offer comprehensive eye exams powered by 2020 exams, expert contact lens fittings, and a wide selection of quality frames to match your style and budget. Need glasses fast? We even offer same-day eyeglasses to keep you seeing clearly without the wait. Our experienced team is committed to personalized service and helping you see your best every day. Visit Cutting Edge Optical at 1114 North Main Street in Shelbyville, or call 931-488-5778 to schedule your appointment today.
Get the results you want with the personalized service you deserve at Dennis Young Insurance Agency.
As a local independent agency, we offer coverage from several different companies, including Erie. So whether it's auto, home, life, personal, or business, we can find the right coverage to meet your unique insurance needs. And with a rate lock advantage, your rates won't go up as long as you do not change drivers, autos, or addresses. Contact us at Dennis Young Insurance Agency, insuring Shelbyville and surrounding areas since 1988.
When you're ready to buy or sell in Middle Tennessee, you want someone who knows this community inside and out. Meet Diane and Madison Arnold, Shelbyville's trusted real estate team with decades of local experience and award-winning results. Whether it's finding your dream home, pricing your property to sell, or navigating every step of the transaction with confidence, they're with you from start to finish. As part of Coldwell Banker Southern Realty, they pair hometown expertise with powerful market tools to help you move with confidence. Call Diane and Madison today and experience the personal service and local knowledge that makes all the difference.
All righty. Welcome into the weekend wrap-up show here on Shelbyville Now. Now, Josh is going to look ahead for the week to give us his little plans for the week.
Well, I'm going to tell you, David, on Tuesday, I'm going to need about 3 of me because I honestly, I'm taking the day off work Tuesday. I believe I got so much going on.
Wow.
And it's a busy day. Tuesday is the main county budget hearings. This is where a lot of the talk happens. Decisions won't necessarily be made here, but a lot of the talk is going to let us know pretty much what the decisions are going to be on the county budget. 10 o'clock, the nonprofits will make their presentation on what they would like from the county budget. 1 o'clock, the different department heads will make their presentations. Same room at 4:15 will be the monthly county finance meeting. Then right across town, which I don't think I'm going to make it this month, I normally would be there, is the Shelbyville Power, Water, and Sewer Board meets at 5. I'm afraid finance will probably go over, so I think I'll be skipping that one where I would normally be at. And then back from that to the square at the historic courthouse, county planning meeting at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. So Tuesday starts at 10, and I could go till 8 or 9 o'clock. So it'll be a fun day.
Do you think you could get any Sparky deliveries in that?
I don't think I've got a lot of room to spark in that.
I don't have
a gap in there. So on the city side of government, there's no big meetings, but these are ones that I sit on the committees, and I'm going to get to most of it. I actually am going to miss one of the few city meetings I will miss, hopefully, all year on Tuesday. Tuesday, there's a bid committee meeting that conflicts with one of the other meetings I'm at. So I think I'm going to skip that one and go because there's another one of those on Thursday. And then also Thursday on the city side, we're having our employee benefits committee meeting at 9:30 a.m. on Thursday, where we're going to talk about where we're at on employee pay and benefits. And then Friday, this is not a public event, but I will attend because I went last year, and it's a good time and just hang out, take some pictures and stuff and see how it goes, is the annual Cops and Bobbers event.
And where is this? The same place?
Is it the same place that we're not going to mention because it's not open to the public, but it is they go fishing with the, I believe it's 5th graders, the city police department, and a lot of other departments. I think we had THP and county sheriffs, and I think we had everybody like EMS and fire and a lot of our first responders.
Everybody that wears a uniform.
Everybody that wears a uniform, and even useless politicians like me sometimes show up.
Are you going to ride around on the Gator this year, or was that a golf cart last year?
There was a side by side last year. That was fun. So but this, this is a good event every year. It gets the kids from our school system. I think they get all the schools in Bedford County. I think get involved in this at that age group. And they get them out and they got to go fishing with, hang out with a police officer or a firefighter for the day and do some fishing. Last year, I think they cater in some lunch for them. Yeah. And so it's a really good event. So hopefully I'll get to go to that.
This has been going on for several years.
Several years. I don't know what annual one this is, but this is several years in, and it's a really good event. So I'll stop in and hopefully see how it's going.
So, well, very good, Josh.
And with that, I think we've gone way too long. Yeah. And we do appreciate everybody hanging in with us. So.
And again, we thank our sponsors, Dennis Young Insurance and Cutting Edge Optical and the Dream Team, Coldwell Banker. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back again, same place, same time next week. And y'all pray that Josh will have the energy to go get his stuff done on Tuesday.
On Tuesday, gonna be a full